New year, new chimney, in the sense that we've just swept it. I will say that is quite a lot more than we normally get out of the chimney, so it was well worth doing, and hopefully now we'll have several months of decent burning, especially since the range isn't burning constantly. I'm going to dump this in the compost bin, and then I'll come back and show you briefly the finished article. Not that you'll be able to tell the difference because I didn't show you what it looked like before, but just a reminder of how nice the range can look once it's had a bit of a quarterly or 3 times a yearly renovation. It won't stay like this for long. Very briefly, what it involves is cleaning the chimney flue, then dragging all the stuff that comes down from the bottom behind this door where there's a little hatch into the innards of the machine, and then giving all of the internals a bit of a clean. There's essentially a void which goes along here and down here and under here to allow the air to go up the chimney, so all of that gets clogged up too with soot and ash and debris. So all of that gets a clean, the interior gets a clean, and then the exterior gets oiled, and the hearth gets a nice sweep and a nice mop. Something shiny over there. I'm not quite sure what it is. It might be a monitor lizard. It's intriguing. Oh, it's a bird. There's the bird having a rest. Oh well, that's more boring than I thought that might be. Finally gotten around to consuming one of my Christmas presents from Will, which he picked up in the Queen Victoria Market in Melbourne, I believe. For those of you from the UK, from the southwest, who are missing decent cider, this one was quite a good one. And this is the brand. So if you're interested, I can recommend this Scrumpy. It was really very nice. You find me down at my lawnmower station. This is where I keep my 2 ride-ons. This, which I don't really use very much, and so I'm thinking about actually getting rid of this. It's a self-propelling push mower, but that's by the by. Because I'm hoping in the near future to begin the process of servicing my mowers. It's something which I don't tend to do very often because I'm not very good at it, and so I have requested the assistance of my father-in-law. So what I'm going to be doing today is having a quick look over them and compiling a list of the things that I need to get prior to the service. This one should be pretty straightforward. I think realistically all that one's really going to need is the oil changed and potentially a couple of components, maybe a new oil filter, or if it's got one, I need to find that out, or air filter, but it has got a relatively new one on, so we might be okay there. This one hasn't run for a while. I am going to look at getting a new battery, and again any other mini components it might need, like an air filter, and we'll be changing the oil on that one. It currently doesn't run, so that's the main advantage of getting this done. And one of the problems is that the blade seems to hit the cutting deck, which makes it noisy and unpleasant to use. But because of the risk of fire here, and because I take mowing the lawns as a serious part of bushfire damage mitigation, were one to go through the property, it's very important to me that I have 2 working mowers, just in case one of them breaks down. It means that I'm not stumped, which is very important to me, as I say. So hopefully in a couple of weeks' time, maybe, I'll have 2 working mowers that are nicely serviced. So yes, what I'm going to do now is go over my list of things to acquire and see what I need to get. those sorts of temperatures. Vita and I, if you can spot her there hiding underneath this mock orange. Do you want to say hello? Yes. Vita and I have been preparing the garden. What I like to do is give the plants that are young, or the plants that are flowering, a nice big drink of water. So things like this grass and this plant here, which I planted out earlier this year, and these flowering plants here, same in the donut bed, and the citrus trees, and in fact all of the trees in the orchard and dotted all around the garden, the deciduous woodland area that we're planting out there. I like to give all the plants a really nice drink and a fertilise. I've been using my various fertilisers just to help them get through the hot weather. And then this is a Christmas present from Will. This is a type of kumquat tree called a calamansi, and Will and I first enjoyed calamansi juice when we visited Borneo, Malaysian Borneo, and Will gifted me this tree, which is good for here because I require citrus trees that can cope with frost, which apparently this one can. And this is the beginnings of a new part of the garden, which is along here. We had a series of citrus trees, orange, don't know what variety was already here, lemon, similar, and then we subsequently planted a edible lemon, in the sense that although all lemons are edible, it's sweet enough to eat as if it were an orange, and then a lime, and then a navel orange. So what we're going to do is plant maybe 3 more citrus trees approximately here to create a sort of avenue of citrus trees leading to the donut bed, and also to sort of create a bit of shelter and privacy for the formal lawn here, what I call the formal lawn, which is where we have things like our bird bath and our outdoor patio set. So I am refraining from planting it because I know that it will really, really struggle with those sorts of temperatures being newly planted. I am keeping it sheltered and well watered, and then as soon as this hot weather breaks, I will be planting it in situ and then doing a bit of research to discover the other trees I want to get to finish off this little avenue of citrus. I think that's about all I need to do in the garden. What I probably will do is a bit of extra watering mid heat wave, just to help the plants. Will tend to sort of start to droop a bit and look a bit sorry for themselves, most particularly the young plants. The more established plants will take it in their stead. I am careful in my choice of plants, so there's nothing here really which should be decimated by the hot weather, but nevertheless it will slightly struggle a bit. And so what I'm trying to do now is prepare it for that, and then mid-heat wave, just top it up a little bit. I thought I'd just give you a quick update on the situation here. It has, as you know, been pretty hot here. Starting yesterday, we've had a warning for extreme heat wave conditions, but it's taken a turn in that you might be able to hear thunderstorms are now rolling in, which isn't great. So if I zoom in the part of the state we live in East Gippsland, there are a series of small fires which have started through this lightning activity, and that's always the danger. So I have taken the precaution of packing up my car with some of the bits and pieces which stay in the house. A lot of the evacuated stuff is already at a separate property, but I have put bits and pieces in my car, just on the off chance this lightning sparks a fire closer to our house and I have to evacuate, because if I bring up the fire danger ratings, my part of the state is yellow, which is high fire danger, but if I go to tomorrow, which is the peak of the heat wave, you'll see that we've now got extreme fire danger. Catastrophic are these parts of the state in red, and you can see there's a total fire ban throughout the entire state tomorrow. Extreme fire danger means that essentially in order to be better prepared for it, if you can, you're better off to get out, but I feel like I'm prepared enough to mean that I don't have to go to that extreme right now, but that is why I'm monitoring the situation. Tomorrow is going to be hot, but I may be gone by then. It depends what these lightning strikes bring about. Anyway, I thought I'd give you that update. This is the current situation. This is the first time in many a year things have gotten to this position, and it's the first time in many a year I've had to even contemplate packing up the car. But luckily we're well practiced, and there's lots of assistance in monitoring the situation, so I feel ready and prepared and calm about it. And if Vita and I need to go, we'll go. Will's at the beach house for an extended period of time, so I don't need to worry about that. But yes, I just thought I'd give you a quick update. Fingers crossed it'll all be fine, but just to give you an insight into the sort of situations you can find yourself living in Australia in the summer. It's not all winning the Ashes and cricket on the beach. I'm off out early running an errand. It's 5:30 in the morning and 22 degrees already. We got lucky yesterday with the thunderstorms. There weren't any lightning strikes, so it just ignited fires close to us, well, terribly close to us, but there are fires somewhat close to us. And I'm just wondering if you can see the blueness in the air. That is the smoke emanating from the distant but nevertheless close-ish fires to us. I woke up this morning to the smell of smoke. So this will linger now for quite a long time, probably getting worse before it gets better, because the wind and the heat today will make that fire that's causing this get bigger and bigger. Hopefully not to the extent it comes close to us, but my car is loaded up with the remainder of our evacuation stuff, and I'm good to go if I have to. Probably won't have to, so anyway, if I do, I can.